Hello and welcome to Straight Talk, Supply Chain Insights, the podcast for your supply chain leader who is on the go and wants to be in the know. And now, your host, Lora Cecere.
Thank you, Laura. It's great to be here. Well, I've been with Supply Chain Insights for over a year now. I hold an MBA in Finance from Lehigh University and a Master's in Applied Math from Kiev-Mohyla Academy in Ukraine. I mostly do data analysis for Supply Chain Insights, such as analyzing data patterns and the regressions and pattern analytics, and I write reports and monthly case studies. I actually had to look it up, and I assume I'm a Gen X, because the Generation Z is people who came after me, which is 2000 and later. Well, I had two major personal insights, which I sort of knew about, but I never took the time to consider the implication on global supply chain. And one was that data is the new oil. I loved the way Francois from L'Oreal put it. Data is the new oil, and it's not about extracting it anymore because data is cheap to store and it comes in easily because the devices are so interconnected. It's all about reading it and analyzing it and spotting patterns. So the companies and the supply chains that are able to do that and turn big data into actionable steps are the ones who are winning the market and have a future. This was the first insight. And the second insight was that supply chain professionals are facing similar challenges, no matter where they are globally and no matter what kind of company they're leading, because the challenges are basically the same all over the world. Be it decreasing time to market or producing smaller batches because customers are looking for personalized products at a lower unit cost, or continuously monitoring and responding to ever-shifting customers' needs. The challenges are identical. However, most professionals I met at the conference believed that their challenges were unique, and they actually were very relieved to find out that they were not alone. And even more importantly, some of their colleagues and competitors have already implemented solutions to similar issues. So I think the lesson here is that there needs to be more communication and sharing of best practices just in the global supply chain community. I think this year's conference was very close-knit. I saw a lot more networking going on and people constantly mentioning how amazing it is to be in the same room with like-minded people. I've seen suppliers connecting to, did we have more participants this year? Same number? More active? Mm-hmm. Yeah, more time for dialogue. But how do we call that? Hot, not hot session? Yeah, hot or not. I wonder how I can describe what it was. It was like supply chain representatives from 3 different generations from very diverse industries, often giving very different answers to the same question. Yes, I noticed quite a few differences. Although we had roughly the same number of participants, it felt like the conference was much more close-knit this year, with a lot more interaction with the audience, more time for dialogue, and a lot of networking happening behind the scenes. Several supply chain executives have mentioned to me what a great place it is to build new contacts. And I especially liked the new addition that we had this year, which was the hot or not session, when we had 3 representatives of different generations from very different industries answering the questions on the trends in supply chain. It was a lot of fun, and I think the discussion after each single question you asked them had a lot of insight. I especially liked how people were not shy to ask to translate and interpret abbreviations if they were not from the same industry. To me, it looked like everyone was engaged, everyone was trying to comprehend and maybe take what is useful back home. I think the most important thing is to understand that as the supply chain is becoming more and more global, consumers are looking for more and more personal approach. So how do you do that? And people who are continuously implementing technology that already exists to make it happen, such as VR, robots, simulations, and so on, are the ones driving supply chain forward. And the second biggest lesson is people who feel like they are stuck in silos need to talk to colleagues in other companies. They learn that their problems are not unique and that issues are very similar all around the globe, And instead of inventing a new wheel, they can maybe look at the best practice. I think we set a very respectful goal. I like the deadline of 2030. I think it's doable by then. I would like to see more time spent and dedicated towards actually planning out the steps that need to be taken. But I like that it was talked about and mentioned, and we try to focus on that. So maybe next year we will spend more time actually planning for how to create that coalition. Yes, I agree with you. And I saw a lot of eagerness to actually begin collaborating at the conference and after the conference. And I think if we can capitalize on that, we will reach the goal of devising a new supply chain in 2030. So after the conference, I started writing and putting to paper all of the case studies that we had from presenters. I'm basically trying to make a guidebook of short, to-the-point, actionable best practices that supply chain leaders can use all over the world. Last thought would be I cannot wait for the next conference. I think we're on the right path. We create a space for collaboration, and that's what's most important. Thank you, Laura.